Was the microphone on?
Alrighty. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. On today's episode, we're going to just talk about one word that makes all the difference in the world. Can you guess what it is, Doc?
Something with a K? I don't know.
Well, that's not the word, but that's what that's one of the things we're talking about. It's a word called grace.
Ah, grace.
And we're not praying before the meal. We're not talking about your next door neighbor.
Just these guys, you know.
We're talking about how to live your life.
With Dr. Mike.
And we got Dr. Parker in the house. It's a good day, man.
Doctor.
It's a good day. It is a good day to have a good day. All because of this thing called grace. I am more overwhelmed than normal coming out of Easter Sunday at just how incredibly overwhelming this thing called grace is. How truly amazing grace is. And we had such a great celebration at the church at Grace Point. Grace.
Yeah.
That's the point, Grace. Tons of people, just a lot of celebrating of God's goodness, God's plan for all of us.
And I want to thank Bill for turning Roger's guitar up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's still, Bill's doing a great job.
He's doing a fantastic job.
He really is. And appreciate all that he does to put time into continuing to improve. You know, he doesn't just sit there.
No, he's a hard worker.
He is working that instrument. He's playing all the instruments.
Yeah, he's running the soundboard, and I think that's great.
Yep.
Especially when he turns Roger's guitar up.
Yep, that's really literally all he has to do is make sure Roger's guitar is turned up.
I'll pay him $20 a Sunday.
I'm saying for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody else can just go away.
I sent him a song. I sent him a recording of AC/DC and said, "What do you hear? What do you hear?"
Because if we're not sounding like AC/DC at church, you are doing something wrong.
Speaking of doing something right,
yeah.
If you're out and about Wichita this weekend, swing by the Farm and Art Market, 21st and Ridge, and say hello to a little friend,
yes, indeed.
Tyson Utes, who is fondly around here become known as the Dragon Man. And if you missed that video, scroll back a couple. He is a fantastic human being, and he sells all sorts of great art at the 21st and Ridge Farm and Art Market. He's the Indiana Jones character of the show, and he's got all sorts of fantastic items out there for you to check out.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. And handmade.
You have any idea what kind of a butterfly that is?
He would tell me it's something, and he gave this to me. If I can remember the story, he's going to come punch me for getting it wrong. But he chose the butterfly because of the transformation the butterfly goes through to become such a beautiful butterfly. Mm-hmm. And if you look in the bottom left and right-hand corners of the
12-2. Nice.
Yes.
That's cool. Well, now it makes a lot more sense. There really is a story behind that.
He's thinking.
That's awesome.
He didn't just slap any old random butterfly on there.
Yeah. So for those of you who still haven't connected that, Doc is one of his life verses, I believe.
Romans
12:2. To be renewed with the transforming of your mind. So that's the transformation he's talking about.
That's the transformation.
Beautiful, beautiful. So this thing called, well, should we talk about the weigh-in?
I was going to say this thing called fat.
The weigh-in.
You've been working hard and...
Well, I have been working hard, and I'm not even upset with the slow results because I think that's key, actually.
Your weight loss is what's going to happen. That's, I think what everybody loses sight of is it doesn't matter what program you're on. whatever. The fine print always says you may lose 6 to 8 pounds in the first week and 1 to 2 pounds in the following weeks each week.
Mm-hmm.
That is normal weight loss. There's no way to change that number dramatically without
being
causing
unhealthy.
a health problem.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, you're right on track. You want to announce it? You want me to announce it?
Hold on. Is there a drum roll on here?
Somewhere.
No, go ahead. It's not that big a
One
deal.
of these.
There we go. That's as close to a drum roll as it gets.
Mike weighed in this morning at 219.
So the deal is I'm in the teens.
Yeah, well, you haven't seen that number
It's been a long while.
since your teens.
It's been a long while. I didn't know if I would actually be in the teens, but my thought coming in here this morning was, okay, I'm gonna audible to a new goal. My goal is to be a very fit 220.
Omaha.
Yeah.
Omaha.
But I'm going to stick with this whole thing. The biggest difference that I'm experiencing is that I feel already so much better.
That's amazing.
Getting rid of a lot of the crap that I'm not eating anymore. I have found, and I forgot 2 things this morning as I came in. I forgot my drink, and I forgot a drink that I brought for you.
Go.
It is a Member's Mark, which, by the way, if you have a Sam's in your community and you are not a member of Sam's, you are missing out. They have their own brand of stuff called Member's Mark, and it is amazing. When I grow up, I want to work for Member's Mark. Their food,
This show is not sponsored by Sam's.
Yeah, it should be. Should be sponsored by Sam's. Should be sponsored by Member's Mark.
I know their hot dogs are great. You served those.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the hot dogs are crazy
Yeah,
good.
you could have lied to me because when I took a bite of one of those, I thought you went to some specialty shop.
Sure.
I was like, whoa, he bought us nice hot dogs.
And here's the craziest thing in the world. That's
Not Oscar Mayer.
That's the same hot dog that they will serve that dog and a large drink for $1.98. And you don't even have to be a member. So I just want to make sure everybody knows out there, you can go walking right into Sam's and you can go up to their little counter and have lunch for less than $2.
There you go.
Talk about in economic times when things are tough. Go to Sam's.
Swing by Sam's on your way home. Pick up one for each of the kids.
Yes, and then with the money that you save over time, buy a membership and start getting Member's Mark products. They're so good. But anyway, I brought you a Member's Mark protein shake.
Oh.
30 grams of protein. Tastes great. It is a amazing way to continue to keep your protein up as you're trying to cut out calories or whatever you're doing. It is so good and good for you, man. So I've been drinking one of those in the morning, and I actually take some of that. I got the chocolate right now. This is riveting podcast. People are dropping like flies. Hey,
Shut
for
up.
all 2 of you that are still listening.
And just a pro tip for you, if you've never really kind of hung around the podcast ethos, I'm learning big words now.
And it is a big word.
If you don't like what we're talking about on the podcast app, there's a little button. You hit it and you flash forward 15 or 20 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
We got another 15 or 20 seconds of Sam's here.
Yeah, in hopes that eventually they'll get to something that I'll stick around for.
Just tick it.
Yeah. But anyway, I pour a little bit of it into my coffee. It's a very healthy, it's super low. It's like 2 grams of sugar. It's amazing. So I'll pour a little bit of that in my coffee and then I'll have the rest of it. But anyway, I brought one for you. Don't let me forget to give it to you.
Remember when we used to get excited about like Long Island iced teas?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, you wouldn't believe what they put in it. Now it's like, I got this protein drink in my coffee.
My, how times have changed. Indeed.
Well, Lance is up 2 pounds, so let's move on. Next. Funny thing about it is I actually started working out a little bit this week.
Well, that's the deal. You're building muscle.
Oh, that's it.
Muscles.
2 pounds of muscle 1 week. Boom.
Muscles heavier than fat. This is why I was thinking I need to just consider the idea of being a svelte 220. If I could look, I mean, that's 220 is a pretty big dude.
Yeah.
But 220 can look good or it can look real bad. Now, if I could get a good looking 220, I'd take that.
Yeah.
I don't need to be 190.
And It's obvious when you're on stage, you're slimmed down a great deal. So you're repackaging everything. You're pushing the cottage cheese into the right cups.
It's coming. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I've been eating a lot of cottage cheese, by the way.
Oh, it's great.
I love cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese will make anything taste good.
I had
try this. Try this.
I had somebody tell me one time, I'm so happy that you guys are no longer doing the pour over. What a boring thing that was. We're getting back to that.
We're on the cottage cheese. Cottage cheese and peanut butter.
For real?
For real.
Really?
Yeah. Just like try it with a spoon, see what happens.
See, I love everything with peanut butter.
Yeah.
You ever had sushi with peanut butter?
Yeah. Not, I haven't like taken out of the jar and put it on there, but
Right.
they're with Ninja's.
Yes.
Ninja's has a peanut butter sushi.
So cottage cheese and peanut butter. Wow.
Beautiful combination.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Okay,
All
now
right,
to Grace. Hit the button back.
So we had, yes.
Start here.
We had such an amazing day last Sunday, Easter Sunday, that I just want to continue to carry on. And I also know a lot of people out there who, again, are just struggling with their faith. They're struggling with life. They're struggling with continuing to keep a healthy perspective on where they're at and where they're headed. And I think so much of it has to do with the fact that they have a narrative of who God is in their head that was either taught to them when they were really young, or they have over time just abandoned the relationship idea with God, which is all he wants. That's exactly what he wants from us. That's why he came here in the flesh, put on skin, to become the one who would do for us what we couldn't do for ourselves, and then have a relationship with him as our Lord and Savior. And what most people see is a God who is just simply there waiting for them to screw up so he can judge them.
Right.
And that oftentimes comes from the fact that that's because that's how the church treats them, or that's because that's how other Christ followers treat them. They act nothing like Christ.
Yes, the funny thing is the guy who is, afraid of judgment of God, but he hasn't actually read the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So where does he get his knowledge about all this judgment and hate and anger and wrath?
from the preacher.
From Brother Billy Bob that's
Yep.
standing at the door greeting him, with that snotty look down your nose at you've showed up today. We might have a seat in the back.
I saw you smoking on the way in. Take that hat off before you go inside.
But yeah, I think that's exactly where everybody gets it. Is you talked once about being in the line at the grocery store, and this cashier made a mistake, and the lady began screaming, chewing her out over the mistake, and she turned, and she had a blingy, blazoned Jesus across her shirt.
Oh yeah, it didn't just say Jesus. It was a sequined, like in a spotlight, Jesus all the way across
Disco.
her chest.
Ding.
Oh yeah. And that was really before I knew Jesus very well.
Well, there you go.
And I was still just disgusted with the fact that she would wear that and
act that way.
And be that way. Yeah. So anyway, show her some grace.
Yeah.
So the overwhelming, I'm just so filled with gratitude for the fact that I know that I don't deserve anything that I have. I deserve, when people ask me, hey, how you doing? My patent answer, and it's just going to continue to be, is, man, I'm doing better than I deserve. And a lot of people are confused by that. And then I just say, it really boils down to one word, one person, Jesus. That's why I'm so much better than I deserve. Because grace is undeserved favor, undeserved love, undeserved, just incredible, incredible gift. The gift of Christ. That's grace. And the story that I always kind of go back to is this the parable that Jesus tells about the father who has two sons. And he's got and I just read this earlier this week and learned a little something about this story. I've taught on this story a number of times, and I had never heard this piece of it. And so father has two sons, and the youngest son decides he's ready to go party it up. He is done living under his father's rule, and he says, Dad, I want my half of my part of the inheritance. It's actually 1/3. The older son gets 2/3, younger son gets 1/3. But it was a significant inheritance because this father was a wealthy man. He was a patriarch. He was high up in the community in their village. And this younger son asking for this it would have been devastating to the father. But the father obliges, and he gives him his third of the inheritance. And it says that he goes off to a foreign country, and he squanders it, living it up, partying it up, and he ends up at rock bottom. So when he hits rock bottom, he has ended up working for a pig farmer, which to Jesus, talking to a crowd of Jewish people, that would have been, okay, well, that's as bad as it gets.
Well, and there's probably two key points that he's kind of dropped out to the Jews here. One was he went to a foreign country and spent all his money.
Mm-hmm.
And then two, he's working for a pig farmer.
Yep.
And both of these are huge no-nos.
Huge no-nos.
That they would have, their ears would have perked up when he said it.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's in the pit, and he's starving. And it says that he can't even eat the slop that the pigs are eating. They won't let him do that. And he realizes, okay, I have got to own this situation. I've got to go back to my father, but I'm not even going to ask to be restored as his son. I'm going to ask to be a hired servant, not even a servant that lives on the property, but even lower than that. I'm going to own this. I'm going to swallow my pride, and I'm going to go back home. And I'm going to ask my father to bring me back as a hired servant. And so he heads back, and it says, and notice that think about this, the father wasn't out trying to find him, chasing him down. We have free will. Mm. So if the father in this story is God, it's not like God is just going to chase us down when we go off and make bad decisions. He's given us free will. We hate the fact that we have free will when things are bad. We love the fact that we have free will when we feel like we get to do what we want to do, and it's working out. So he goes back to the father, and it says that the father sees him far off. And, you would think that a man who has been hurt the way this son hurt him would stand there and be upset. He would at least act like, this son's going to have to come back and crawl here and get down on his hands and knees and ask for forgiveness. And yet he sees him far off, and he runs. Now, I've always talked about how he runs to him because he's so overwhelmed with joy that his son is returning. He literally hikes up his robe above his knees, which was unheard of. Mm-hmm. If you were a dignified male in this community, you did not do that. And you didn't run. It's unheard of that a grown man would run like this. But he's running for two reasons. Number one, because he's overwhelmed that his son has returned, but also he is racing the community. He's racing them to the edge of town because they would have done what was called a kazaza ceremony.
Word for the day, kazaza. Work that into a sentence somewhere.
So kazaza, I dare you to find a way to put that in a sentence. Kazaza. So this is a ceremony where they would have all gone to the edge of town, and anytime someone had left the community and they had gone off to a foreign land, and they had lived among the Gentiles, and they had squandered their lives away, if they tried to return, they would have this kazaza ceremony where they would go out to the edge of town, and they would take pots, and they would just break the pottery, saying that you are no longer a part of this community. You are ceremonially expelled. and he was racing
Now,
to make sure.
just random, breaking the pottery on, was that like, so he'd have to try to walk on glass if he came into the community? Or?
Yeah, I guess it didn't say.
Okay.
I'm sure that question we could probably ask Google.
But I guess if your entire neighborhood shows up on the street when you turn into your cul-de-sac and they're all out there throwing dishes on the ground and breaking, you might want to turn around.
Sure. Not a real welcoming situation. Yeah. So he comes back. It's interesting. He comes back broke. He comes back broken. And that would be the receiving, the reception that he would get
Right.
from the community.
Right.
So the father wants to make sure that he gets there first and reinstates him with a robe to cover up his filth, with a ring to put him back in the family, and to put sandals on his feet, because servants weren't allowed to wear sandals then. He was restoring him as a son.
Wow.
And so he would put sandals on his feet, and then he says, now, go take the fattened calf and barbecue that bad boy, because we're having a party. And so they throw a huge party. And it's interesting that the oldest son, he comes back out of the field, the one who's always been loyal, the one who's always been in church, the one who always he's served, he's always been on the board. And
stands in the front row, sings the loudest.
He sings the loudest, wears his ties, always looks the part.
Yeah.
Looks the part, acts the part. He's the one who comes back and he says, what's up with the music and what do I smell in the air? Is there a party going on? And one of the servants says, dude, your brother is back. He's back, and your dad is celebrating, throwing a party for him and his friends. Not just the son, but his unruly friends. And so they're celebrating, and the older brother gets so mad. He now is the one who's going to shame the father. The father has to go outside of the party because the older son won't come in.
Right.
He has to go outside of the party and say, listen, dude, your brother was dead. And now he's alive. He was gone, and now he's back. We should celebrate. That's what grace is. What the older son was stuck in was feeling like, and this is how so many Christians live their lives, and how so many people think that if I'm gonna commit my life to following Jesus, that I'm going to have to live this way. I'm going to have to figure out how to earn it. I'm going to have to do this, and I'm not going to be able to do that. And I'm going to have to, it's all about what you have to do.
Sure.
Instead of what you want to do, when you realize just how incredible God's love is and how much his grace is amazing and overwhelming. And so the older son, ends up just pouting around. And the older father is like, listen, he's back. He was lost, and now he's found. Man, how good it is to be found, and how amazing it is to experience God's grace. So whatever we can do to keep from, like, every day. And the thing about grace is, I talked about this last Sunday, grace it's not designed to just come to us. It's designed to come to us and through us. So if we're living our lives the way Christ lived his life, everyone that we look at, we can see someone that he wants to put his grace into their lives. And a lot of times it's he does his work through his people. And there's not enough of us who are embracing this idea that we are grace-filled people designed to share. That's the whole idea behind Hope Dealer, is that we are people of grace. That's the point.
Boom.
Man. Without it, we're toast, because there's not a single one of us that is good enough. Not one.
And then, in a way, that kind of dovetails with what you were saying last week about Jesus said, go forgive. You have the power to forgive others.
Mm-hmm.
Without you forgiving them, they cannot be forgiven. Mm-hmm. And kind of the same thing here. Is how's Mike going to receive grace if I don't give him the grace?
Yeah.
And
So true.
something to think about today, this week.
Yes, indeed.
Are you receiving the grace? And how can you extend that out to somebody else?
Mm-hmm. Lord, for that person who has continued to struggle, feeling like what they deserve is the shame that they have been putting on themselves, God, I pray that your grace would overwhelm, that your grace would replace and the shame, the guilt, and that which has separated. You know, when Jesus, as soon as he gave up his life, the veil was torn from top to bottom. Not bottom to top, top to bottom. A 60-foot veil, 4 inches thick, that was always designed to separate God and all of his goodness and all of his holiness from us. And there was only one person, the chief priest was the only one who could go in to that room once a year after he had gone through a cleansing ritual that was crazy. But that veil was torn to now make God available to all of us, anytime, anywhere, any day. And that is so incredibly significant for us to remember that he is always with us, and he wants us to know him intimately. It is a personal relationship. We do this in community when we have a body of people at church that are doing this right, but it is a personal relationship. And listen, for all of you out there, he loves you more than you can even imagine. More than you can imagine. Just surrender to that. It's not about trying harder. It's about surrendering. And then we end this way, because God is good.
All the time. Hey, that's what did the pilot?
Yeah.
The officer,
Yeah.
colonel, rescued recently in Iran. Climbed to the top of a mountain.
One line.
Yep. You got one thing you're allowed to say to save your life from hundreds of thousands of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
You got one moment, 1 second, you can send a message to get rescue. And what did he send?
God is good.
Boom.
Hey, there we go. Well, thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Mike.
Heck yeah. Thank you, Jesus.
Celebrate grace. What's the K word again?
Kazaza. Don't be throwing kazaza ceremonies. Welcome the black sheep, the broken, the broke into God's love.
Kick Kazaza to the curb.
That's right.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Just These Guys You Know. We will catch you next week.
Have an awesome week.